Welcome to the Stone World Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Camry, and with me today is Fernando Xavier, one of the owners of Brothers in Granite. Fernando, thank you for taking the time to be here today. I appreciate it.
Thank you for the invitation. We're happy to be here, actually.
Of course. So I'm really excited to talk to you. A lot of times in the States, we focus so much on what's happening in the United States with the pandemic, what's happening, with importers here, but we never really focus on what's going on outside of our country. And this is one of the key reasons to have you here today is to talk about exporting, talk about Brazilian stone. But before we get into all of that, if you don't mind, talk a bit about, Brothers in Granite, just kind of the history of your company and how you got to where you are today.
Sure. I'll try to be quick on that part because it's quite a bit of history, actually. we start out out of nowhere, pretty much, being like a broker back in, I don't know, maybe 14 years ago or something like that. So we had like nothing but our computers, like notebooks to go around, inspect slabs and to customers in the United States. So, but then we start growing, and right now we are a factory and we actually do all the block processings at home here in our own factory. So yeah, we are exported right now. To just talk about right now, to be, I think it'd be that way. So we are a factory down here in Brazil, and we have partnership with many quarries that we go to, and we buy blocks, and we cut them and then ourselves, and then we polish them and process them here in our factory, and we kind of keep in stock, and we display everything that we have in our website. So that's something that we do different than other exporters because we display them online. Because we sell mostly to fabricators, and fabricators don't really have much time to come down here to see each slab and all that. They don't have inspectors from themselves. So we try to do that for them. So what I mean by that, we are very focused on quality inspection pretty much. So we take our proper time to inspect each slab, to take pictures sometimes of each slab if we need to. And we kind of point out problems in a way that people feel like they are here looking at the slabs. Actually, we feel like they're going to look better if they're in the website than even coming here, because sometimes coming here is too crazy. It's overwhelming all the information. And when they are, at home or their business, you just can go to the website and take a look at what's there, So we have close-up pictures. We even have videos of the problems that there are in the stones, because natural stones, as everybody knows, has some issues. So we like to point them out. So we do that different than most people because of that, because our main public is fabricators all over the US. And another thing that we do different, we take care of all the import process for them. So we do all the importing, we do all the documentations and everything like that. So they don't need to go through all that. We make everything easy for them to actually buy from overseas, to buy from us, from a real factory in Brazil, which is us. So, and we also do something a little different also on the delivery. So we actually unload the containers from them too, and put on a truck and deliver the slabs on a flatbed truck for them. So actually, it really feels like they are buying locally, but they're buying from overseas from us on our website. So it's interesting. They don't do everything online. They really need to talk to us at some point. Like, we exchange emails, we talk through, WhatsApp and all that, phone calls and everything. But the process starts on the website. They kind of make the order there, and then we kind of send back the pro forma with the pictures and everything, and then we go from there. So it's pretty easy the way we try to do things, but we do in a way that they can have a very good transparency regarding the quality, the pictures, and the videos of the materials that we sell to. So that's us.
No, I really want to echo this because, preparing for this conversation, I went to brothersinGranite.com, and I really recommend anyone listening to this do that because you guys do have a great website. You have a lot of pictures up there and a lot of great information, and it is overall just a well done website. So I think that is really key for people to take time and go look at that.
Yeah, that's actually thanks to Slabware. Slabware.com. That's another company that there is out there in the market for the stone industry, and they did all that. So they're very, very good people. We work together as one, actually. So we kind of share information. We have the same ideas, and we kind of promote together. But they actually develop it. So actually, that's actually available for the whole industry. So there are versions for fabricators, for distributors, and for exporters like ourselves. So I just want people know that too. So it's not only us that sells Slabware here.
All right. Yeah, that is good to know because you see some of these fabricator websites and they could be improved. They could be as good as yours. So, definitely reach out for help if you need it.
Slabware.com.
Yep. So looking at the past year with COVID-19 and the pandemic, obviously it's interrupted a lot of businesses in different ways, and a lot of businesses have had to make different changes. So if you don't mind, just talk a little bit about how the pandemic has affected your business for this past year, and any changes you had to make.
Sure. I mean, it affected everyone overall. It's the same thing. I mean, back in March, I think last year, it was a big shock for everyone, all over
Hmm.
the US, all over Brazil, all over the world. It started in China first in January, and we started thinking, okay, it's not gonna hit us as hard. But then it came. So on March, everybody had to just stay home, lockdown. So we had a lockdown same way like everyone in the world. But that was it. So we stay like I think 3 to 4 weeks at home. Everybody, kids out school, same way the US. So it was a nightmare to everyone. But the industry, our industry, wasn't made shut down at all. The government let all industry run because of the basic industry and even the construction business as ourselves. So we kept the industry running and the minimum amount of people, like all the masks, all the safety, of course. But our business never actually stopped. But we had a decrease on sales, yes, on March because of that. Of course, all over the world stopped, so we couldn't sell, we couldn't deliver anything. But then things starting to pick up again. So I mean, yeah, we had a very bad March overall. People got scared, but after March, I mean April, we had the best April ever. I mean, that was very shocking for us actually in
Hmm.
the business side because we didn't expect that to happen. We thought, okay, what we're gonna do now? We have an industry to run, everything to a bill to pay. Everyone like was scared a little bit, but then we started looking at April in a different way because okay, people start contact us again, emailing us, okay, let's ship some containers. And we had best April ever, and then we had best May, best June ever last year. So it was kind of interesting. And I think there's some reasons for that. That's we were discussing here, me and Renato and James, why that happened. And there are a few things that we think it happened. Actually, the economy itself in the US kept strong ever. So we never actually went down at all, just in the March, I think, and April. But then it became strong again. And I mean, also the people staying at home, I think by everyone at home, they kind of look at the current top and say, okay, it's time to change. So that happened in Brazil and it happened in the US and it happened all over the world. So the construction business overall, I think, grew. Here in Brazil, to remodel a home, we don't have enough resources still right now because people are still remodeling ever since the pandemic situation happened. So I think because of that, we kind of grew a lot. And not only us, all other exporters that we'll be
Hmm.
talking to here in Brazil had the best last year ever. So it was a great year. And it started this year even better also because of that. So I mean, it was bad at the beginning. We kind of felt very sad and worried, but then just a month later, it just kind of picked up, and here we are. So I mean, we had we're gonna talk about that later too, but we had the situation as you guys did that in the US with the COVID and all that. But business wise, was great actually. There's another reason, if I can say more. I
Hmm.
don't want to be too long here, but quartz from China is our big main competitor, right? I mean, we are natural stone guys,
Hmm.
and quartz took like 50% of our business before last year, so it was a big hit. But before the COVID thing, it was a kind of a market war, business war between U.S. and China. We had the high tariffs for the quartz, and after that happened, the quartz started to decrease, right? But then with the pandemic situation, it kind of flipped all over to natural stone somehow. We don't really know why, but everything that it's coming from China right now, it's kind of okay. We don't know if we're gonna use it here in our home, I think. So everybody kind of switched to the natural right now.
Hmm.
So we were seeing like half and half market quartz and natural back then, maybe even worse than that, like 60% quartz and 40 natural. Right now, we see the opposite. We see at least 60% natural and 40% quartz ever
Wow.
since the pandemic happened. So all that together, it made us grow and made the whole industry actually grow, I believe.
Yeah, that's fantastic to hear. Because for the longest time, you know, at Stone World, we try to keep track of different trends that are going on. And of course, for the longest time, white quartz was the trend, and it's like, okay, I've had enough of that. Like, let's move on. So anything that moves back into the natural stone realm, for me personally, I'm always excited about.
Mhm.
But for the longest time, I mean, we had, not you and myself, but myself and different people in the industry have always talked about um, the value of just Brazilian stone in general, that it was undervalued, that it's a beautiful stone, that there's so much for it. I mean, it's something I have in my house, and you can get it for a good reasonable price. And I always wondered if, okay, all these fabricators are starting to do more business here during the pandemic, because even in the States, for a lot of fabricators, business picked up and started doing more. Well, you know prices started to raise, quartz started to get more expensive. Did finally people start going, well, what are these other options? Oh, this is a very beautiful stone at a reasonable price. Maybe we do this instead. So it has been an interesting year in that sense.
Yes, that's for sure. And we're going to talk about that too. But
Mm,
the marbles from Brazil have become a thing, have become a
mm,
trend. People kind of realize now what Brazilian marbles are.
right.
So I mean, and that together with the quartz side, it kind of pick up again the natural stone. Yeah, granite's out there still, but people want something cleaner, want something modern, and marble and quartzite are that, and they're affordable. Yeah, compared to quartz right now with the tariffs and all
Mhm.
the difficulties about the quartz. Yeah, and then the price on the quartz side is starting to go down a little bit because of everybody has it right now here in Brazil. So it kind of became a thing, actually. Yes.
All right, perfect. So, a lot of people in the States know how the pandemic has affected, the United States as a country as a whole. And, we know a bit about Europe, but what's it like in Brazil? How are you all dealing with it down there?
Yeah, I'll let Renato talk about a little bit. Otherwise, I'll just be talking myself. Renato knows a lot about the politics here, about the situation with the COVID, so he's very aware of that. Renato, go ahead, man.
Hello, guys. Yeah, so be here, Fernando, say agreeing with everything. And regarding the situation here in Brazil, I think we can compare a lot of things with the United States. So, I mean, we both have a huge country size-wise. I mean, it's like a continental country
Mhm.
uh, when we look at the size, and we have different scenarios in each region. Some states they face problems like overcrowding hospitals, and they're always checking, analyze how to increase or not the restrictions measures to to hold the spread of the disease. In our state, where Brother is pretty much under control. I think throughout the whole year in 2020 and still now, when we look at the situation in our state compared to other states, we can say that it's more under control here. The vaccines are arriving, like health professionals are getting the vaccines and the priority group as well.
Mhm.
And they are in a slow path, but they are arriving. And we believe that not only people from our state, but the whole country will get their vaccine by the end of the year.
Wow.
So, like when we look at our situation here at Brothers and in our company where it's located, our workers and everybody around us, our friends and family, it's kind of normal right now. So this is what we feel at this moment.
All right,
Yeah,
perfect.
I think everyone actually already got the COVID somehow. It's spread out, man. I mean, it's the same all over the world, and it's same here and same in the major cities too. But the thing is, major city has more people and less hospital care.
Mhm.
So that's what happens actually there than here. Here we have hospital available for everyone pretty much, compared to bigger cities. But it's the same, right now here in March, we're going through a very bad situation all over the country in the major city like Sao Paulo and Manaus and other bigger city. Yeah, there's a lack of hospitals and all that. So it's bad there. But here it's all under control. So all we do here is wearing masks on the restaurants, and the restaurants are up to just 10 a night. That's the only thing that we see about the pandemic right now, pretty much. And we feel like the customers are actually coming down here again. They're feeling confident enough to come. Maybe they have the vaccine, or maybe they just they have the business running and they see the natural stone, booming right now. They want to come down. So most of our customers are coming down here now, and it's been good. There is nothing wrong. Nobody dying or go to the hospital like that we know here. And the ones that get COVID, they go to the hospital. They usually, they take care of there. And yeah, there are some people that died, yes, of course. We are very sad of that. Some parents and some people from our families as well, older people usually. But overall, yeah, it's pretty much under control right now in our state, at least.
No, that's fantastic to hear. And it's quite interesting to hear about your, the customers and that come visit you, because that's one of the big, I don't know if it's a fear up here, but even when our government finally says, okay, everything's good, you can open up, there's still going to be that delay, right? How comfortable are people going to be going out after a year of really not doing it? So it's really encouraging to hear that, in Brazil, you're people are trying to get back to normal, right? They're trying to do this. So that's really great to hear.
Yeah, I mean, they have to make a test to come down here, as well as we have to make a test to fly up there, to make sure you don't have COVID.
Right.
But that's all it needs to come down. You don't need to be in a quarantine or anything, So if you go through Sao Paulo, that's the main airport. You're going to have to fly there anyway before coming to Vitória. You're going to wear a mask and they have all the procedures there. And then you come here and it's, you're going to wear a mask all over the place, and that's it pretty much. And then you fly back home. There are flights coming down here every week. So it's not like every day as it was before. So it's kind of a worse right now because of that, but it's every week they have at least a flight coming down here. So yeah, we've seen a lot of people coming down. I mean, as long as they are careful, they wear masks, and if they're feeling confident about coming, if they don't have elder people at their family, their house, I think, business is running. So they got to, make a right choice by coming here and select this stone. I think it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. So now, I mean, hopefully we're getting near the end of COVID, right? Hopefully we're going to be putting it behind us soon. So looking forward, are there any changes that you're planning to make in your business, post-COVID world, or are you kind of just running exactly the same?
Yeah, I mean, because of the COVID, actually, it made everything so fast than we were hoping. I mean, we are building up, our own local industry here. But after last year, we kind of doubled what we had planned. So, I mean, we have so much, going on right now. It's kind of hard to list it all. But starting with the quarries, yeah, we are making more partnership with quarries. Here in Brazil, we work like partnerships. Someone owns the quarry, and you kind of make a partnership with that quarry. For example, we have one quarry of Patagonia here. There's many types of Patagonia, I would say, here in Brazil. It's crazy when you come down here. Everywhere you go, you see a mountain. That's a granite mountain right there. So it's quarries of everything everywhere. So there is not such a thing as one quarry of one material. You know what I mean? So like Patagonia, for example, it's a material that everybody knows in the US. There is one quarry that was first discovered, but then we have others that's similar. You know what I mean? So we kind of made a partnership with one of them. It's a small production quarry, and we buy all the production from their quarry. So we have the exclusivity. And some people say own quarry thing. We like to say exclusive quarry. You know what I mean? So we kind of both building those kind of relationships more and more, because I think that's the way to go. So you have the material that nobody else has, different, you know what I mean? So we're doing more like that. And we are building, the second warehouse here, just right now where we are, because we have doubled the storage space, and it's going to be ready like in 3-4 months already. We'll have the industry running, and we are actually building a whole new setup of industry nearby. So we kind of bought a new land, and we're going to put a multi-wire there. It's already started the construction, and we're hoping to be cutting all stones there by the end of this year already. So many things happening, like I said. And like we have right now just launched our own warehouse in the US, in Houston, actually. So we just opened up here in March, and we received the first containers as we speak, just right now. The first 2 containers are coming today, actually. And we are unloading there. Like I said, we do that for fabricators that don't want to go through unloading. That's the plan. That's the whole purpose of the warehouse, pretty much. We're not going to be a distributor in the US. We just want to unload and deliver on the truck. That's it. So that warehouse is running, and we have a plan to open 2 more I don't know when, maybe this year, maybe next year. It's going to be probably LA, or another one maybe in New York area somewhere. So that way we kind of cover the whole country, so it's going to be, freight wise, it's going to be a good price for them to buy whatever they want to buy. If they want to buy a container, they're going to save a bit more. But if they want to buy just deliver in a truck, they're going to pay, I don't know, 50 cents more to $1 more on the square feet price to get it landed there on the truck. So those are all the things that we have in our radar, pretty much. And we also have a plan to build a whole industry just for marbles, because, like I said, marble is the thing now.
That's fantastic to hear. Your growth and your expansion. I mean, that's so cool to hear. So talking a bit about your business in general, you know, the thought always in the past seemed to be, you know, Brazilian granites. It's all that was ever talked about with Brazil. You know, what are some of the trends that you're seeing with natural stone and different stones out there?
Yeah, people know about Brazil when you talk about granite. Yeah, so granite is still out there. We sell a lot of granite. We just don't sell as much Ubatuba like we used to. We are thankful for that. Nobody wants to sell Ubatuba anyway. But yeah, like stuff like Bianco Antico, Alaska White, it's still out there. You know, just it has the price right and people like it, but they want something different. They see Alaska White every shop all over the country. So they're where, you know, marbles and quartzite come in. And actually, when I talk about marble, I really want to talk about that. We don't even call our marbles marbles anymore. We just call dolomite. So what is the dolomite? It's just a harder marble. It's a different mineral. So you're going to find that mineral in most Brazilian marbles here. There are a few that you don't see that at all. And on those, it's going to still have those problems of scratching, staining, and all that. But I would say like 90% of the Brazilian marbles are dolomite, actually. That makes the whole difference because with the dolomite, you're not going to have the staining problem, the scratching problem at all. You're just going to might etch a little bit when it's polished. So if you have a, you know, a wine or lemon and you split over and you leave it on, and if you don't clean it up like in 30 minutes or in an hour, you're going to lose that polishing a little bit. So that's the only issue about the dolomites, I would say. But most of our customers right now are asking for home dolomites. So we are doing in a way that we take all the polishing, I mean, all the bright off. So on our dolomites, so it's a very dull home marble, pretty much. So whenever you have the etching there with the customers, you know, it's kind of easier for them to match that finishing. So they can just fix it easily by honing it again by hand, and it's gonna match it. So what I'm saying about that is that the dolomites are being used all over the country on kitchens. Back then, you couldn't imagine doing a kitchen of marble, the tiny marble, because so many headaches you would have, right? So now people are realizing that Brazilian dolomites are just safe enough for kitchen countertops. So the huge majority of our customers are using dolomites on their kitchens. And the thing is, we have so much variety down here, and they are all unique themselves. So you're gonna find one quarry, there is no such thing as another quarry, but they have similar quarries. So what I mean by that, if the trend now is white dolomites, you're gonna have lots of white dolomites here in Brazil. That's what happens, you know. So we like to say then when customers all over the US, the public find out about how hard dolomite are, they're just gonna give up on quartz, they're gonna give up on granite pretty much because they're so clean. You still can find like almost 100% white dolomite sometimes. It's kind of rare, yeah, because the quarry produce all kinds of things, but you see very clean stuff down here. And there are all the veiny, all the rocky structures on materials like super white and Matarazzo. They're so unique and they're resistant and they're awesome to work with. And they still have good prices. So if you compare that with quartz, you know, I mean, we beat quartz big time with prices. We still beat them. I mean, when I say still, it's because it's becoming so more and more popular. And usually when the demand increases, the price increases a little bit too, but it's going to be a good price overall. And quartzite, on the other hand, quartzite also, there are so many quarries right now that like back then, you only had like Taj Mahal and white macaubas. That's what everybody knew about. Right now we have, I mean, hundreds of quarries of quartzite. You know, that make the variety grow and that make the price went down a little bit. So back in the days, you used to buy Taj Mahal for a huge amount of money. White macaubas the same. Right now you find macaubas for the half of the price they used to back then. So it's been very interesting to see this change. So I can definitely say that the dolomites are the trend now. Quartzite, of course, it is too, but dolomites is something different. It's going to be becoming more and more popular. Like 1 year before, we only sell like 10% of our sales was just for the dolomites. Last year, we have over 30% already. And we believe this year, it's going to turn to 50 almost. So it's a big change.
Absolutely, and I'm really happy to hear you refer to it as a dolomite. The reason being is because a lot of times in the States, people just call it a quartzite when it's not a true quartzite, and then there's issues later down the road, and there's mass confusion, whatever. So I love hearing that you're actually calling it a dolomite, but it is true that it is a harder product, and I think a lot of people need to know that.
Yeah, people need to know it's not a quartzite, like super white, fantasy brown. It's not a quartzite, definitely not. That's not the truth. But it's not marble either. You know what I mean? It's in between, definitely a marble and a granite, or a granite and a quartzite sometimes. But if they be careful with it, if they use home finishing, man, it's gonna be amazing. No problem at all on those materials. That's for sure. No scratching, no staining. So it's, I mean, yeah, you have the etching, but if you're careful with it and if you know how to do it, it's gonna be perfect anyway.
Absolutely, absolutely. So one of the last things I kind of wanted to pick your brain about was talking about shipping lines. A lot of times in the States, we hear about the shipping from east to west, states to Europe, states to China, and just how hard it is to ship everything right now. From your perspective as an exporter, what are you seeing from Brazil to America with shipping lines? Is it congested, or is it moving pretty easily?
It's super congested, man. I've never seen this before. I mean, I'm booking containers to the West Coast, especially, and I'm having like a month or two to ship that container out. It's been the best scenario for the United States ever that we had this business running. I would say that for sure. So it's overcrowded. The ports are crowded down here. It's crowded up there, and even truck drivers, you can't find them. It's funny. We kind of will load the container, and then we just can't get drivers at all. We can't get trucks, so it's kind of crazy. So we hire our own drivers. We buy our own trucks. That's the way to go to the United States, I believe, because the market's so hot right now. You can't just rely on other people. You have to do it yourself, pretty much. But yeah, because of that congestion and all that, good market going on, the prices on the freight went up a little bit too. Not a little bit. That's a lot, actually. I would say it's kind of going up like every month, at least $100 or $200 at least, ever since last year. So we kind of have a very good increase on the shipping, unfortunately. Yeah. So I think with all that going on, that's an unfortunate thing to happen, but that's what it is. So usually our customers put that on the price, on the sales price anyway, and it hasn't been affected as much on the price wise. Just on the container thing that we need to be careful a little bit and kind of book a month ahead so our customers receive our materials. That's what it is.
All right, perfect. So if I'm a fabricator and I'm listening to this today, and I want to learn more about, Brothers in Granite, how should I reach out to you? How should I contact you?
I mean, it's easy. Just go to brothersinGranite.com, make a registration there. You're going to see the live inventory, every single slab that we have down here. It's going to have a picture of it there in the website, videos and everything. And we are ready there too. I mean, once you register, we're definitely going to be after you talk, 10 emails. And if you want us to call, we're going to call. We're not going to be calling all the time. Of course not. We'd rather just wait an email to come because we're busy too. And we know you are busy. So if you want to just check prices, just go register. And our focus actually is to give their fabricators the chance to import direct from the source, direct from the quarry. We are quarry guys. We just make everything easy for them to do that, in a way that they pay the right price and they receive their product in a best quality ever. That's our purpose right here. So just go to the website and we are here. We can talk through WhatsApp, we can talk through phones. And if you want to come down to Brazil, please come. I mean, we used to bring a lot of people down to Brazil like 2 years ago. We are part of the Stone Fabricators Alliance, and we used to bring groups of people down here to see quarries, to see the process and everything. So we are open to do that same way. So just let us know if you want to come down here, and we'll go from there. Yeah.
All right, fantastic. Well, Fernando, thank you for taking the time to talk to us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, man. It was a pleasure.